Sunday morning. We are doing a Sunday morning live stream to catch up on this week's news. That said, it's Sunday morning. I'm a little tired. I apologize, but we have a lot of news to discuss, a lot of DC TV news, as well as some movie news and some box office updates, a whole array of comic book and comic book adjacent stuff. Plus, as always, my favorite comics from this week. We're going to be diving into my favorite comics from the week of November 12th. 9 really, really solid books that I'm very excited to dive into. And Spidey is co-hosting today. So any bit of chaos, it'll be this boy. And as such, I don't have my comics on hand. We're going to be doing comics from my phone to show you guys the covers. But today we're going to be talking about the Jimmy Olsen show. We're going to be talking about the V for Vendetta show. We're going to be talking about the Russo brothers staying at Marvel. We're going to be talking about all sorts of stuff. If you're new to this page, I cover comic books, I cover movies, I cover TV. Just put up a Running Man review, just put up a Now You See Me review. About to dive into more about to dive into a Wicked season, Wicked non-spoilers and Wicked spoilers, but about to dive into Welcome to Derry tonight. Lots of stuff to come. Spidey is hanging out. We're going to be diving into it. So please, if any of that interests you, if you like movies, TV, pop culture, comics, hit that subscription bell. Join in this page. It's a fun journey. There's cats, there's comics, there's all sorts of goodness. There's coffee, there's koi, there's lots of things that start with C, and I appreciate it. So please, subscription bell, press the like, leave a comment below. Let me know what you all are reading and digging and watching and enjoying. Let's dive in first to V for Vendetta. All right, so V for Vendetta is a... How do I navigate this in the world of 2025? V for Vendetta is a very important and topical story. It shouldn't be topical. It should be important, but it is a comic written by Alan Moore, one of the great, more adult graphic novel writers. He wrote Watchmen. He wrote an incredible Swamp Thing run. Alan Moore is a genius. And if you have friends that think they don't like comics, if people think that comics are sophomoric, if people think that comics are just for kids, Alan Moore is a great way to show them the depth and range of comic books. V for Vendetta is one of his great works. The art by Dave Gibbons is gorgeous. The writing by Alan Moore is incredible. It is also a story that is growing in familiarity and importance. So I love that right now is the time to make V for Vendetta again, because the movie that came out almost 20 years ago is almost 20 years old. So a lot of the younger generation might not have seen it. It is going to be very hard to top, however. Hugo Weaving is such an incredible performer. His voice in that is just sensational. It is produced by the Wachowskis. It is a stunning bit of cinema. I really, really, really like V for Vendetta. That said, I think there's a lot of opportunity to tell the comic in a more long form way. I think that serialized nature of these, stories told in a long form format like comic books or a graphic novel is very suited to a show. And we saw with Watchmen, there is a really beautiful opportunity to tell stories like Watchmen, and in this case, V for Vendetta, in long form. I'm curious what that looks like. I'm curious if that means more parts of the book that didn't quite make the movie. The movie does a pretty faithful adaptation, but there are elements that aren't in there. I'm curious if they add anything. I'm curious if they do something like Watchmen where it takes a slight, pivot into being a sequel or something like that. I doubt they do a sequel to V for Vendetta, but it is interesting to see James Gunn and Peter Safran adapting this. They brought back Vertigo to DC Comics, and with Vertigo being back at DC Comics, I'm hoping we see a lot more like this, a lot more adult stuff, a lot more a range. Obviously, we're getting an R-rated Clayface as one of the first DC properties. We're getting a lot more adult comic books in the DC Comics themselves. I think this is exceptional news. So I think this is a really smart move. V for Vendetta is a beloved property, and I think it's also something that we can do something differently than the movie 20 years ago. So I'm really excited. That was confirmed this week to be coming to HBO Max. We don't have any details on the story, who else involved. We just know that James and Peter are producing, and that will be coming very soon. Also, produced by James Gunn and Peter Safran. Also coming to HBO Max. I'm so excited about this. I am such a big fan. Jimmy Olsen is a character that I hold right here in my heart. Jimmy Olsen is such an interesting piece of Golden Age comic books that really, really works when you get them right, that doesn't work when you get them wrong, that allows for universe building at large. It was announced this week that there is going to be a crime detective comedy series starring Jimmy Olsen It is not called DC Crime. The title was debunked, but we are getting a Jimmy Olsen led, also starring Gorilla Grodd, comedy caper series. Now, if you haven't read Matt Fraction's Who Killed Jimmy Olsen, do yourself a favor, leave this stream. Just go read it, come back to me. I'll be here. This is alive. It's going to save. I love it that much. I'm asking you to leave. No, but seriously, it is insane. Spidey is trying to say hello again. He is trying to get kisses. But it is so special. It is such a weird golden age toned modern comic book. It is farcical and satirical, but full of heart. It is stunningly illustrated by, I think it's Lieber. It won Eisner's, which are like the Oscars for comic books. It is so freaking good. If the Jimmy Olsen show captures even a taste of the glory that is Who Killed Jimmy Olsen, we're in a good spot. Now, that's probably not the thing it's going to be adapting. It might nod to that. Skylar Gisondo and I have talked a lot about at different events and the premiere, and I've interviewed him a number of times, and he's a delight. But we've talked a lot about like the transformational element of Jimmy Olsen. We've talked about the fact that, the Olsen family establishing Metropolis and their history in Smallville and the different versions of Jimmy Olsen. He's always tickled when I give him lots and lots of lore about the insanity of the Olsen legacy. I could totally see them playing around with that on an HBO Max show. And on top of that, we saw how key he was to Superman, the first film. And I think it'd be cool to see him on the street investigating and seeing him, in those situations to discover characters. I would love to see the more insane elements of like Jimmy Olsen turning into a turtle or a porcupine or any number of things that happen in the comic books. But I think it's very likely we get the Watch, we get him discovering different villains, we get him discovering supporting characters. We can really grow out the world through Jimmy Olsen. So I think the Jimmy Olsen show idea is actually some of the best world building we might get. And I feel like that's going to tie into stuff like a great example is Gen V, right? Like The Boys is a really solid universe of 5 seasons. The 5th season is the end, upcoming. And Gen V is able to fill in dots in between. It's able to give us more world building and coverage and characters. I think DC is going to do a really good job making serialized content between their movies, a la The Penguin, where you get to love Gotham as a character. You get to love the supporting characters. You get to enrich the world and then go back to a big movie. So Jimmy Olsen can enrich the world and gather all these new characters, get to know them with longer screen time. And then when we get to Man of Tomorrow, when we get to whatever's after that with Superman and that family, we have so much more love for Metropolis and its characters. Plus, selfishly, I love the Daily Planet. I'm really excited to see more Beck Bennett. I think his Lombard is delightful. Beck Bennett is incredible. He's so funny. Michaela Hoover is such a delight. Michaela Hoover as Cat Grant, it deserves more screen time. Like, she is so good and so charming and so fun. So if you want the Daily Planet bullpen and your movie's only 2 hours, there have to be cuts somewhere in what you can show. I think this is a great way to grow the bullpen and then maybe have, those characters get a little bit more screen time and manage more, but we've already known them and loved them. So I think it's really fantastic. I'm very excited about this. I think it is going to be a really fun, hijinksy show, but also there might be fun mysteries and all those things in it. So I think it's really fun. I know people are like, why would you do a Jimmy Olsen show? I think there's 100 reasons to do a Jimmy Olsen show, not the least of which Skylar Gisondo was pulled out of the comic books. That dude is literally Jimmy Olsen. We had him on my DC Studio Showcase show, which I love doing. That show means the world to me. And you got any of you that watch it, it's on HBO as well as on HBO's YouTube. It means a lot that I get to do that show. So please check it out. But Skylar came on the show and the dude just is Jimmy Olsen. And then when we talked at the premiere, I went out for Jimmy Olsen back in the day. Makad Brooks got the version that I went out for, but back in Supergirl, I auditioned for Jimmy Olsen when I was an actor. And ironically, me and Skylar were dressed exactly alike, double-breasted white linen suit. Like, we were wearing the same clothes, same undershirt, everything at the premiere. So we got to like twin as multiversal Jimmy Olsen. It was a lot of fun. And I got a lot of love for that dude and his take on Jimmy. So wanted to give that some love. I'd love to know what you all think in the comments. Going to be answering super chats now here in a second, but please let me know what you think of the V for Vendetta show idea, what you think of the Jimmy Olsen show idea. Do you think these are good ideas? Do you think, do you have one you want to watch more than the other? Let me know in the comments below. Let me know in the live chat. And if you're watching this later, let me know in the comments on just regular YouTube. All right, let's do some super chats. And then we're going to talk some movie stuff. We got a lot to dive into today. It's a lot of small news, but a lot of fun news. All right, first super chat. Well, first message is from the great Douglas McKinney, who is an absolute delight, who has supported Koicast, my podcast, for quite some time. Darth Vader got these lights that I use for reviews. I'm not on right now because we do reviews with them. He is an angel. A lot of love for this man. He says, can't watch live because I'm going to the Running Man. Have a great show. Go support cinema. Good sir. Go support your movie theater. I appreciate it very much, and thanks for saying hi, man. My Running Man review went up a few days ago. It is the last video before this one on this page. If you guys are curious what I thought of the Running Man, check it out there. All right, we got A Soul KM, A Soul _ KM. Thank you for the super chat, good sir. Coy, I know you don't game, but wanted to put this one on your radar. It's called Dispatch, and it's almost like an interactive TV show. A former suit becomes a 911 superhero dispatcher trying to reform former criminals. I've heard so much about this game of late, which means it's working. I love that. I really appreciate people telling me all about it. I actually talked about it on me and Greg's live stream Friday. Everyone's talking about Dispatch. Aaron Paul, I'm a big fan of. The dude is so good and such a captivating actor, and I'm curious, like, his voice work beyond Invincible. I don't even have a PS5. I have a very dusty PS4. I bought a Spider-Man game for, like, the Spider-Man game. I play the Miles Morales game about an hour or two a year. So I'm like 4 or 5 hours into Miles. I don't have a lot of time to game, but I've heard great things about it. I personally don't get a lot of joy out of watching gameplay, so I'm not likely to, like, watch the playthrough stuff. But if I ever am at a friend's house and there's a PS5, or if I ever get a chance to play this game, I absolutely will, and I'll report back. But I really appreciate everyone's love for the game, and I love to hear, I'm love to even hear, like, right now, Dispatch, get the word out even more. So I appreciate that very much, and I hear it's great stuff. All right, next up, Spidey Sensei. Spidey Sensei says, and thank you, Spidey Sensei, switchboard for streaming donation. We're pivoting. We're pivoting. It's going in the log. Have you read the Spider-Man 1994 comic yet? And do you know when they'll be available in graphic novel format? All right, so we're going switchboard donation, which I appreciate. New viewers to this page, every single Streamlab as a default, like without any specs, is going to the house fund. I want to buy a house. I know that's an unrealistic expectation in 2025 in Los Angeles, but by golly, I'm trying to do it. I work many jobs. I work a few less jobs now than I did about 2 months ago, which was needed, but I'm trying to get a house. So every, by default, goes towards house. But the two other things I'm saving for is maybe a PS5, but mainly a switchboard, because I want to add comic graphics. I want to add trailers. I want to try to build this page up and this show up, this live show, having more stuff. So when I get a switchboard, I think for a little while, I'm going to hire a producer to help me learn how to run it, and then eventually run it while I'm doing the show, bring in graphics, and make this a little fancier in 2026. So this, Spidey Sensei, I promise you, will go towards the switchboard, and I am saving up to get one, and that is going to be part of the 2026 slate. Now, the Spider-Man 94 comic I am reading, it is doing a lot of weird time crunchy stuff where, like, Morlun is the big bad of this arc, and it's only on issue 3, so it really is like slamming you back into the world and then really throwing some, like, not, to me, Spider-Man 94-esque characters into the fold. It mostly works. It's not quite my jam as much as I hoped. I was really hoping to be like your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man and just kind of like dive into that tone and world seamlessly. Spidey wants kisses so bad. But it's doing an interesting job blending the modern comics with the 94 show. I would recommend it, but not like highly recommend it. Like, it's a good time, but it's not like my top 9 of the week ever. But it's cool seeing those characters again. Cool, hearing the Mary Jane voice in your head from the drawing and seeing where those versions of those characters landed, because it has been like 20 years of what happened to them. So yeah, it's worth it for that. But I don't love it enough to recommend it by itself unless you're a fan of the show yet. And I imagine it'll be in a graphic novel format, and probably issue 5 or 6 will be the collection, and then 2 months after that. So probably 4 to 5 months. So I'd say like March. I would estimate. I got you. All right. Next up, super chat from Mayan K Superhero Fan. Mayan K Superhero Fan says, "Hey Coy, nice to listen to you. Nice to listen to this just before my birthday from India. So it'll be the 17th of November in a few minutes. We'll be getting Lanterns teaser in December. happy birthday, Mayan K superhero fan. Very happy birthday on the 17th. I appreciate you very much. I don't know. TV trailers are so different than movie trailers because you can kind of look at, we had a surge of movie trailers this past week, right? We had like Mario and Michael Jackson and Scream 7. All of those trailers are for things coming out like, the beginning of next year. Mario, I think, is like May, but the first half of next year. But you can kind of see how they'd attach to certain movies. Like right now, Wicked is coming out. So you put all the stuff that appeals to the Wicked audience out. We're getting probably Spider-Man, maybe Doomsday, maybe Supergirl attached to the definitely the Odyssey attached to Avatar, because that's the biggest movie for that audience. So I don't know how they time things for things like TV with shows, because maybe the finale of Welcome to Derry, I don't know. So I don't know if it'll be December, but I hope so. I'm very excited for Lanterns. I'd love to see more. I don't know a lot about it, but I know Below the Line, it is the best team I've seen assembled. So really excited to find out, and very happy birthday. And I hope we get something soon, because I really want to see a first look. And again, happy birthday, Mayan K superhero fan. All right, last three, and then we're going to go back into some more news. Also, I saw someone ask about Checkmate on one of my comments, and they were also in here. So sorry, I haven't gotten back to respond to comments yet, but someone was asking about Checkmate, and I wanted to make sure I answered that in regards to Peacemaker. At the end of Peacemaker, Checkmate is introduced, and someone was asking about comic recommendations, and it makes me so happy when people ask about comic recommendations. But yeah, Checkmate, I would recommend the 2005 run from Greg Rucka. David Finch did some art on it. Finch is such an incredible artist. But I definitely think the Rucka run from 05 is sensational. There's also a Fire something run from 84. I forget the name of it, but it was Fire something in 84. And that's the Amanda Waller run Checkmate that introduced the team. So the 84 Checkmate and the 2005 Checkmate are the two I would recommend. And I hope you're still in here. If you're still watching, I hope I answered your question. Those two runs are the ones I recommend. All right, next up we got Calm Down Rich. I appreciate that very much, but I want to learn how to produce it like with a switchboard myself. Like I want to be doing it live. So I can like, oh, I need that image and I know how to do it. So I'm probably just going to have a friend running the switchboard at first with me physically here, and then have them show me how to do it. Like I want to learn how to be self automated. Because long term, I want to do this show as my main thing. And if I don't know how to do everything, then I won't be able to do that. I'll hire people as needed, but like I want to be self-sufficient as I can. So in the beginning, I want to learn piece by piece as we grow this piece. But I really much appreciate the offer. That means a lot. And if I need help, I will hit you up, which I appreciate. All right, next up, let's go to these last three super chats. I will not end a stream without super chat. These keep coming in, and I appreciate it so dearly. So keep bringing these super chats. I will answer each and every one of them. I'm going to answer these three after the next bit of news. Let's dive into some more news, and then any more that pop in, I promise I got you. Let's stick to sci-fi goodness. Let's pivot a little bit out of necessarily just comic books, but they make a lot of comics out of these characters. There have been Dark Horse comics. There are now Marvel comics. There have been DC comics at times. Let's talk Alien and Predator as a pair. First up, Alien Earth Season 2 is a go-go. We are officially getting Alien Earth Season 2. I quite enjoyed Alien Earth Season 1. I will admit, it did drop off for me a bit from the beginning. In the beginning, I was like, wow, this is like potentially favorite show of the year. The Studio is my favorite show of the year. King of the Hill is probably my second favorite show of the year. But Alien Earth was like fighting for that. But over time, it did lose me a bit. But I really want to see it pick itself back up. I do think there's a lot of potential in the show. I think Noah Hawley is absolutely a genius. I think there is a great opportunity for the world to expand in a fascinating way. Like, I really think there's a lot of potential for what this show can do for the world of Weyland-Yutani. And I like the actors, I like the cast, I like the writer. Like, there's a lot of potential here. So though it's not like my number one of the year, I'm so excited it got renewed. I'm so excited to see this grow. I think Noah Hawley has a beautiful vision for it. It was clearly written to be a multiple season show. So yeah, very excited all around for Alien Earth Season 2. And that is officially a go-go. From Alien to Predator, Predator Badlands, as of this weekend, as of like today's Sunday, as of this weekend, the one we're in right now, Predator Badlands has officially become the biggest Predator film of all time domestically in like what, 2 weeks? It has crossed $66.3 million domestically, which puts it at $130 million globally off a budget of $105 million. Now, that does not include marketing money. And I think the movie math that a lot of box office amateur pundits claim is like, well, multiply it by two, so it needs $210 million. Those people don't take into account some marketing budgets are lower or higher than others. Those people don't take into account all the tie-ins to the movie's marketing. Like if there was a Jack in the Box deal, if there's something in the movie, like all of that stuff goes into account. So all I know is the budget of the film was $105 million. And I know that it has made $130 million. So it is approaching being in the clear, which is a great thing for a franchise to come back. Like this franchise was not doing well 5 years ago. Dan Trachtenberg gave us this triple feature of Prey, Killer of Killers, and now Badlands. I haven't seen Killer of Killers yet. I need to because I love the other two. I loved Badlands. I did 2 reviews on it, which is not common for me. I did a non-spoiler and a spoiler. The spoiler, honestly, the spoiler review for Predator Badlands is my favorite video I've done on this page. I think it's my favorite review I've done. So please, if you haven't seen it yet, check out my Predator Badlands spoiler review after you've seen the film. I want to do more stuff like that, but I need to love the film enough to want to dive in. I think Badlands is my 4th favorite movie of the year. Adored it. It's almost like December in 3 weeks, guys. So we're going to be doing end of the year list very soon. I'm very curious where things stack up for everybody else, but I'm really excited about my end of the year list. Going to be doing a top 25 of 2025 because I'm a madman and I love long lists. So I'm going to do 15 to 11, then a top 10 because people are always like, why don't you just do a top 10? Well, that's the second video. So going to be doing that in December after I've seen the rest of my movies. I've only got like 15 more movies to see, which is not that many considering. And then I'm going to make my my favorites of the year list. But Predator Badlands, as of right now, is number 4, and as of right now, is absolutely killing it, crossing $130 million globally on a $105 million budget. Warms my heart. Congratulations to Dan Trachtenberg and the whole team at Predator Badlands for being rewarded with how good your movie is. It deserves it. All right, let's do a few more super chats, and then we're going to dive into some comic news as well as some Marvel news. So we've got some Marvel DC stuff as well as the comics themselves, and then we're going to talk about my favorite comics from last week. But first, we've got some super chats. First up, Mel, New York City Reviews, asks, Mel says, Coy, it always puts my mind at ease when after a horrible week, I log onto YouTube and find you live streaming. Sometimes it's the mental break I need from all the negativity in life. Thank you. That is a very sweet message, Mel. Thank you. I try to be a voice of positivity. My cat helps. He's trying to get snuggles right now. He's trying so hard to pretend he's not on the TV. But yeah, I really want to be a force of positivity for you lovelies. It has been a lot for a lot of people lately. And there's been a few times, I'm not gonna lie, like this year, I'm like, what if I just start ripping apart movies I don't like? And that way, all the people that are like, well, you only love everything have the proof that I don't. But then I was like, you know what? That goes against me loving art and me wanting to support artists just for the sake of people that I don't really care about their opinions. So there have been times even I have felt myself slipping into darkness this year, but I won't because of messages like this. It means a lot that I can be a force of positivity for you lovelies, that I can be a safe haven. So I'm going to try to keep it up. It is not easy, but with the power of cats, comics, and coffee, we're going to get there together. Thank you. I appreciate it, Mel. I'm glad I could be here for you. All right, next up, Ragged Recording. Ragged Rec is an absolute master of showing off new music over on Spotify. Ragged Rec, great. Big question. Who's your pick for Behind the V Mask? That is a big question. Man, oh man, oh man, oh man. I actually don't even know who has that kind of gravitas, who has that kind of voice. Hugo Weaving is so hard to top. Man. I'd love to see in the comments any ideas you guys have, because I really wonder. Okay, voice and like aura and like persona. Coleman Domingo, he has like that incredible that voice and gravitas. I it would remind people of Thanos too much, but Josh Brolin's voice is incredibly iconic. I don't know if it's a little gruff and unrefined, which is its strength. I kind of want someone that sounds a little posh. That's why I thought Coleman Domingo. I'm gonna have to think about this, but right now I'm saying Coleman Domingo, Ragged Wreck. That is really, really tricky, but I'm gonna think. I'm gonna think on it, and I'm gonna try to think of another one by the end of the episode. But that's a great question because it is the question. Robert Pruser. Hope you're having a great weekend. I'm personally excited for the Jimmy Olsen show. Hopefully, we get a few cameos, introduction to some lesser known villains, heroes, and more time with the reporters. That's exactly what I think we're going to get. I think we're going to get a lot of time with the reporters. I think we're going to get crazy villains and heroes we'd never get otherwise. I think James Gunn is going to play. There are so many golden and silver age DC insane characters that would never get a theatrical. This could be a chance to really get. I mean, he put arm fall off lad in the Suicide Squad. Who's going to come to a Jimmy Olsen show? The opportunities are endless. I with you, Robert Pruser. I think it's very exciting. I also think it's just fun. I think we should really start having fun with this stuff. I think there's such an opportunity with a comic nerd running a studio to really have fun, and a crime caper that's also a comedy starring Jimmy Olsen is exactly that. So bring that on. I am with you. Matt Krugman says, I think my super chat from yesterday got lost. Matt, I derailed a little a second ago because I saw this message and I started looking through on another window these super chats, and I found it, good sir. Matt Krugman, first person in here yesterday, asked a question, and I found it in the super chat menu saying, thank you, Matt. I appreciate that very much. Matt Krugman, when you visit your fam in Georgia, what comic shops do you go to? My weekly one is Oxford Comics in ATL/Buckhead off of Piedmont Road. You should check it out next time you're visiting if you've never been. I've never been to Oxford Comics. That is a very funny name, Oxford, Oxford Comics. I respect a pun, a little bit of a dad joke in there. I've been to Buckhead, though. I loved Buckhead. It was beautiful. There is one in, I think it's Alpharetta that I really like. My mom actually has a pull list there because she got into comics after going to the Superman premiere, and now she gets Mr. Terrific every time she like a new issue drops. Oh man, I wish I knew the name. I'm looking through text right now. But that's the one she goes to and she loves it. And like the fact that my mom has a pull list warms my heart like you wouldn't believe. I think that is so cool and crazy. I'll ask her, but yeah, that's the one. You know what? Actually, I'm sorry to people watching this live that are like, why are we taking so much time to answer this? But I want to dive into a map here. Comic stores, and then see if I can name it. Because I went there once and they were really cool. Kapow Comics was one of them that I went to that actually had some comics that I needed. They actually had a couple Uncanny X-Men that I needed. Kapow Comics, I think, is the one. And then I went to Titan, I think. But yeah, Kapow Comics is the one I went to, and they were great. And now I feel good because I wanted to support a local comic shop to my family. Kapow Comics was delightful. I will check out Oxford Comics because their name is great, and also because you've recommended them. So Buckhead, next time I'm there, done. All right. Thank you all very much for the love. My last one's going to be JM saying support. Enjoy the week of rain. I appreciate that, JM. I actually like the rain. I'm a weirdo that was out there, no jacket, just experiencing the weather yesterday, and I had quite a good time with it. So I'm gonna, when I'm done with this, try to get a workout in the rain and have a good old time. So I appreciate that very, very much. And Robert Pruser also says Tremel Tillman, Mr. Milchick would be a great V as well. Yeah, you know what? I like that. Trell Tillman is such a force. His voice is incredible. He's got a lot of presence. I don't know if his voice is specific enough, but he does have the presence. So I'd have to like hear his voice and like see if it's right. But I want the specificity. I want like that sharpness. But Trell Tillman's an incredible actor, and I can almost get there. I would need to hear it. But yeah. Much love to Terrell Tillman and a great idea. Keep them coming in the chat. And thank you, Robert Pruser, for that suggestion. That is, I agree. Co-signing. I would just want to hear it first, but I'm with you. All right. Last few bits of Disney news. We got some comic stuff. We got some TV stuff. We got some movie stuff. And then we're going to dive into the comics themselves. But in the world of Disney, very briefly, Ryan Coogler is actively working on Black Panther 3. He's been in pre-production for a little while. Obviously, we've known about the Denzel rumor that became true through Denzel commenting on it. But now he has said while doing press that he is working on it. So we're working on it. Black Panther 3 is actively his next film. I'm very excited about it. I really am curious about if we're gonna keep Shuri as Black Panther, I feel like she's earned it, but a lot of people want T'Challa back, and I respect and understand that. Will it be Damson Idris, as is the rumor? Will it be a multiversal Damson Idris after Secret Wars? What's going to happen? A lot of questions, but either way, I think that is exciting to know that is actively his next film after all the Sinner success. It's going to be cool to see what he does with Black Panther 3. We also, from the world of Disney, got confirmation that the Russo brothers are staying on as the like brain trust Illuminati circle of the greater MCU after Secret Wars. For phase 1 through 3, there was a very clear kind of cabal of creators that kind of curated what things were happening in the greater universe. James Gunn was part of it. The Russos were part of it. That was how the shape of the universe got made. It seems like that kind of faded with the pandemic and the strike and all those things. It sounds like it's reforming. I think this is a good idea. I know people like to shit on the Russos with, the things outside of the MCU. I personally have not seen Electric, whatever that movie was, but I really liked Gray Man quite a bit. I know a lot of people didn't, but I thought it was a great 80s style action movie. I thought the performances were a lot of fun. The movie itself was a blast. I didn't hate Cherry. I didn't love it, but I didn't hate it. I thought 21 Bridges was fairly captivating. Like, I don't hate their stuff outside of the MCU, and they brought us amongst the best MCU stuff: Winter Soldier, Civil War, Infinity War, Endgame. So I think this is a net positive. I'm really curious, like, what they bring to a overarching universe post Secret Wars, like what that universe is going to be. There's infinite possibility of everything starting fresh, of the X-Men, of all these things to come. So I'm glad there's some sort of like organization at the center of all this, overseeing everything. So the Russos make sense to me as to being a part of that. And I'm really excited because I feel like they love big ensembles and they're really good at this stuff. So I am very much in. Those two things are the good news. Let's briefly talk the bad news. It was also announced this week that Disney Plus, the official app of the biggest media monopoly in entertainment, is not only approving of AI of their IP, they are going to put it on their platform. So Disney is not just condoning and encouraging theft, but they're platforming it, and they're not going to pay the people who type their little keys and make Mickey Mouse AI slop, but they'll put it on their platform. So this is a way for them to get free content that is not art, it's content, and encourage people to make tracings and plagiarisms of the art that real artists have made. This is a crazy, not even slippery slope. This is a giant leap towards a horrible reality. And I just wanted to acknowledge it. I think it's pretty gross. I think it's one of the dumbest things a corporation can do with like some of the most beloved art in the world, a studio founded by artists, a place that is about animation and art and creativity and the power of imagination and creativity. Oh no, let's have people steal our ideas by typing some keys in and then let's put it on our platform. So I'm very vocal against generative AI. You guys know how much I think it's cancer for culture. This is a big media company, the biggest of media, encouraging it in a terrifying way. So I just wanted to acknowledge it. I think it's real bad, but is gross. Yeah, there's a new AI app that allows you to talk to deceased loved ones. Ian Bloch is talking about. Yeah, I mean, we're living in a really shitty timeline, in a really rough patch of it, but just wanted to say, I think it's gross. I think it's awful. I think it's embarrassing. That said, someone gave a really great idea using their actual human brain and creativity, and I want to not talk about stuff that makes me angry anymore because I don't want to be angry on a Sunday morning with you lovelies. This is an incredible idea for the great V for Vendetta voice. Olenti with the win. Theo James. Theo James for V is ferocious. It is a venerable, violent victory. Yeah, holy crap. Great, Olenti. Love that. Co-signed. Yes, Olenti. Into that. That is my favorite pick. That and Coleman Domingo are my top two. I think you just took number one. All right, let's talk comic books. We're going to pivot into comic books of the week after this one little announcement I thought was big enough to warrant its own story. Marvel Comics has announced that Daredevil will be launching this March with writer Stephanie Phillips and a new #1 and artist Lee Garbett. The book will follow Matt Murdock taking on a new job as a law professor and will introduce a new villain named Omen. I'm very happy for Stephanie Phillips. She's been killing it. She's very vocal online. She's a nerd that is like advocating for people to write and make art. I think it's really cool that she's like making her content about making comics. I think it's rad. So she's doing Daredevil. Daredevil has a history of incredible writers and artists. Like Daredevil's like the most consistent, I think, in Marvel's 60 years of like, holy crap, that Daredevil run. Like the people that have worked on Daredevil are like icons. There's, I think, you know, pound for pound, him only having one main run most of the time, some of the most incredible arcs. Like X-Men have like 15 books, Spider-Man has like 6 books. Daredevil is just so concentrated and most of the time pretty exceptional, whether it's, Chip Zdarsky or Frank Miller or Wade or Kevin Smith. Like, good God, the runs that have been there. So I'm excited to see what Stephanie Phillips has done. I'm really excited to see this book and this new relaunch. So all around, very excited for that. All right, I'm going to check on any super chats. I think a few came in. We got one more before we get into the comics themselves. John Tyson. Look at this. Look at the specificity. For treats or toys for Spidey, we have 2 cats and 3 dogs. They are very special to us. Thank you, John. Spidey hopped up right before I started talking about AI because he doesn't even like to hear me talk about it. He felt my rage. He felt the percolating of me thinking society is crumbling and we're laughing in the face of our own doom. And he left. But I'll get that boy some treats. And I appreciate that very much, John Tyson. Spidey, treats from John Tyson. I appreciate it. Thank you. I love that boy very, very much. And he knows when dad's mad. All right, let's see here. Let's talk about the comics themselves, you lovelies. Usually I've got the books from at least the ones I have in paper in front of me, but I really wanted to get this live stream done. If you guys can't tell, I'm exhausted and I still have to film my my Wicked non-spoiler and my Wicked spoiler review on a Sunday. Because the embargo is Monday and I want to have my reviews up for you. Non-spoiler is going to be Monday. Spoiler is going to be Friday. And then I'm going to take a half day off. But I got a lot of work to do on this fine Sunday. So I did not have the comics all pulled up in front of me. But I want to share my favorite comics from last week. These are my favorite books. Sorry, from this week. I want to share my favorite comics from this week. These are my favorite comics from the week of November 12th. First up, we've got Action Comics number 1092. This is continuing this great Mark Waid run that is back to the Superboy days. This is a very charming run about Superboy acclimating to become Superman, figuring out his powers. It's very small town, Smallville. It's very wholesome and heartfelt. I really dig when an origin and a retelling works. This doesn't quite go back to the beginning. It's like a, year one half, but it's so charming and so good. I highly recommend this whole arc from Action Comics. All right, next up, we've got Batman and Robin 27. This is Batman and Damian Wayne. There are a few Robin books out right now that are dealing with various ones. Batman and Robin Year One just ended. That was some of the best Dick Grayson stuff I've read in a long time. This is Damian Wayne. It's very much a father-son book, and as you can see, it's also dealing with Superman, father and son. So really cool book about being a parent and being a hero and the relationship between father and son. I've been digging this run the whole time. 27, really good jumping on point actually right here. Solid book. Really, really dug this one. All right, next up is the conclusion to one of my favorite Batman series in a long time, Batman Dark Patterns. This book needs even more love. It's getting some love, but I want it to get even more. This book is written by the great, I want you to see how to spell it, Dan Waters, art by, forget the first name, Sherman. This book is if David Fincher was directing a Batman movie. This is if Batman was full detective mode, new villains for the most part. It's like 2/3 new villains, 1/3 classic villain. Really cool way to tell that classic villain story. But a lot of new lore introduced here. It's only 12 issues, and it is told independently of other stuff. No continuity. You can just read these 12 issues. This trade is going to be hopefully everywhere. I hope this sells the fuck out. It is incredible. This run has been an all-timer. This is the end of that run. Issue 12. Pick up this miniseries, maxi series, whatever you want to call it, 1 through 12. All incredible. Highly recommend. All right, next up. One of my biggest surprises of the year, Eddie Brock Carnage. This is issue 10. This is Carnage kind of getting a hand over Eddie. This is Muse. If you guys enjoyed the Daredevil Born Again season 1, Muse comes back in this run. Charles Soule invented Muse alongside the great Ron Garney. Charles Soule is writing this great Eddie Brock Carnage and brings back Muse in a really fun way. Love Muse versus Eddie. Love the way Carnage and Eddie's relationship goes. This issue is delightful. The art's great. Highly recommend. Eddie Brock Carnage, one of my biggest surprises of the year. Top to bottom. Really impressed. All right. You guys know I love this series. It is my favorite Fantastic Four run ever. It is Ryan North's Fantastic Four. Now, that is issue 5 right there, but I'd read all of Ryan North's Fantastic Four. They ended his run number-wise with like 20-something. This is the same run continued. They just wanted a new number 1 for the movie comics. That said, each issue is fairly self-contained. The adventure is its own arc, and it's always very science-based, always fun adventure-y. This is a really fun Black Cat Sue Storm team-up, and it really shows the strength of Sue Storm. It really shows the smarts. It really shows the talent and capability of Felicia Hardy. This is just really great comics. Love Fantastic Four. Highly recommend it. All right, next up, we've got Poison Ivy Annual number 1. This is a contained story from G. Willow Wilson, who is writing the main Poison Ivy run that was supposed to be a miniseries that is now going past 40 issues. That book has been running for 4 years out of just being incredible. This annual is likewise incredible about the importance of protecting the earth, very Poison Ivy, about the dangers of tech and machinations and over harvesting and the gray. The green versus the gray is the core of this book, but it's also how we're destroying the planet, which is Poison Ivy's whole thing, but told in a really heartfelt way. Really dug this, and you can read just this issue by itself, just the annual. All right, this one surprised me. Didn't know how much I'd like this series, but Strange Tales 1 and 2, now issue 2, both very impressive. This is Spider-Gwen versus Green Goblin. It's a fun, like, what would happen if, but not a what if. It's outside of continuity enough that you don't really need to know. It's a lot of fun. It deals, obviously, with magic. It deals with a fun fight with inventiveness. It's a really good Spider-Gwen story. It's a really fun Green Goblin story. I really dug this. Strange Tales. Didn't expect to love it, but issue 2, really solid. All right, then we've got Superman, the Kryptonite Spectrum number 4. There we go. I was looking for the number. Kryptonite Spectrum number 4. If you like Golden Age Superman, if you like really fun, wacky, outlandish tales, this is the book for you. Highly recommend this very fun, oversized adventure that feels like a Golden Age comic. It is just a blast. And then our last one of the week is going to be Ultimate Wolverine number 11. As you guys may or may not know, I'm not personally vibing with the Ultimate X-Men title. Just not for me. This book is much more akin to what I loved out of the Ultimate X-Men run in the 2000s. It is a Wolverine story. Ironically, I always say, like, we shouldn't have Wolverine as the lead into the X-Men in movies, but with the comics right now, the Ultimate X-Men not working for me, I have to go to Ultimate Wolverine to get my into the X-Men. It is a very different story. He's the Winter Soldier. It's against Colossus and his sister Ileana. It is against magic. It is a very brutal story. This is a very brutal issue. It is a dystopian world, and it is hardcore, and this issue rocks. Yeah, a lot of good stuff this week of the 12th. So those are my favorite 9. People always ask why I do 9 and not 10. So it fits in this grid so I can post this. And I post this over on Patreon along with the other 40 or so comics I read. So if you guys want to know what I thought of books that didn't make my top list, if there's anything I didn't like, it's over at Patreon, as well as movies and TV shows. So people that think I like everything, I just don't talk about the stuff I don't like, but I do rate all of the comics, whether I like them or not. All 40 to 50 or 70 I read. As well as movies and TV shows. So my Patreon's $5, the price of one comic. You can know what I thought of everything every single week. We're talking 200 or so comics rated, as well as 20 to 30 movies and TV shows rated. A lot of stuff over at my Patreon. So check out patreon.com/Koijandro. This show exists because of Super Chats and because of Patreon. This actual live is going to get like $6, which is me buying a comic or two. So it really means a lot. Every single patron, thank you. Everyone that throws in a super chat, thank you. But that grid is, I always want to be free. I don't want to charge for my opinion of the stuff I want people to check out. So yeah, that's why it's 9. So I can post it on Instagram and everywhere else. All right, you lovelies. Those are my favorite comics from last week. I am going to read you guys the books I'm picking up this week, and then going to be diving in to the live stream. Matt Krugman, been subscribed to your Patreon for a little over a month now and loving it. Thank you, good sir. I really appreciate that. All right, let's dive into the comics I'm picking up this week. These are going to be the comics For the week of the 19th, the comics I am most excited to check out on the 19th. These are in alphabetical order, not order of favoritism. These are going to be Absolute Flash number 9, Amazing Spider-Man 16, Artificial number 3. I still haven't found a copy of that yet. Batman Superman World's Finest 45, Capes number 1, Captain America number 5, Catwoman 81, DC Marvel Batman Deadpool number 1. There is a DC and Marvel crossover event happening again this week. Last month it was Marvel's side. It was a Marvel comic that was a Batman Deadpool team up. This week is DC's Marvel DC crossover with the Deadpool Batman team up, and then backup stories there. Grant Morrison is writing Batman and Deadpool. Guys, I'm excited. That is my number 1 poll of the week. Definitely check that issue out. It's going to sell out in like 30 seconds. Exquisite just call your comic store. They'll hold you one. Exquisite Corpses number 7. Godzilla Destroys the Marvel Universe number 5. Justice League Red number 4. Last Wolverine number 2. Marvel Zombies Red Band number 2. New Gods number 12. And Nova Centurion number 1. Nightwing 132. Omega Kids number 2. One World Under Doom number 9. Loving that series. It is an incredible event. Predator Kills the Marvel Universe number 4. Punisher number 3. Radioactive Spider-Man number 2. Red Coat number 15. Sacrificers number 17. Spider-Gwen Ghost Spider number 4. Spider-Man Holiday Spectacular. Superman Unlimited number 7. Terminator Metal number 2 from Declan Shalvey. Loved that first issue. Titans number 29. Ultimates number 18. Unbreakable X-Men number 2. Wonder Woman 27. X-Men of Apocalypse number 1. And X-Men Book of Revelation number 2. And those are the comics I'm going to be checking out this week. You lovelies. All right, let's get some super chats. Let's get some live streams, and let's get on out of here and have ourselves a Sunday, because I got to film my Wicked review, and that'll be up tomorrow. All right, first up, Duger, the great Doug Torello, absolute legend. Duger13 says, for all the funds, PS5, house, etc. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Coy, I've never read any of the Clone Ben Reilly saga. Is there a collection that you'd recommend that has all in one place? Have a great week, all. Good, sir. You are in for a treat. There is a Clone Saga omnibus. I would just recommend making sure it starts around 150. I think it's 148, but canonically, the 150-ish around there is the clone starting. So start there. And then you're going to go into the Warren stuff, Miles Warren. You're going to go, obviously, into the Clone Saga itself. But there should be an omnibus. If you type in, like, Clone Saga collection, just make sure it starts around there and not just the Maximum Clonage stuff. Maximum Clonage is a blast. I'm one of the few people that defends it. I think Maximum Clonage is awesome. But you want the 70s context first. So make sure it includes that. And then get to Maximum Clonage, which is 90s, which is awesome, which is Ben Reilly. And then I love Sensational Spider-Man. After you read the Clone Omni, Sensational Spider-Man is when Ben Reilly, blonde hair and all, working in a coffee shop, takes on the mantle of Spider-Man, and some of that stuff is my all-time favorite Spider-Man, so make sure you read the Sensational Spider-Man with Ben Reilly as well. Hopefully that helps. Thank you very much, as always, man. All right, we've got John Tyson. Do you have any recs for Fun Xmas books? Thank you for the super chat, John. Fun Xmas books. Well, this week there's a Spider-Man Holiday Spectacular. I haven't read it yet, but that's a new one. There's an X-Men issue that I love. I think it's 136, Uncanny X-Men 136. Let me look at which issue that is. That is Kitty Pryde alone in the house on Christmas, and it's a really good issue. They almost turned into a movie. It is Uncanny X-Men 143. I was close. I was so close. That book is 50 years old, 40 years old, and I was within 7 issues. Uncanny X-Men 143 is one of my all-time favorite Christmas comics ever. But that one is like off the dome my favorite. Let me see if there's any other iconic ones that are just not. I'm going to admittedly look up a list of best holiday comics, and I'm just going to tell you guys my favorite ones because I am. Oh, the Lobo paramilitary Christmas special. I made a whole video about that, or I made a Christmas special list, and I don't know where that video would be, but that Lobo Christmas special is highly recommended. There's a Marvel Team Up number 1 from 1972 that I remember being really cute, Human Torch and Spider-Man. I don't know that one. Oh, I do know this one. Silent Night of the Batman is a great 1970 Christmas comic, and that really gets the vibe of Spider-Man. Of Batman goodness. Sorry, I'm scrolling. Spider-Man 173, Spectacular Spider-Man 173 is a Doc Ock Christmas issue that I remember loving as a kid. I haven't read that in so long. And then Spider-Man Tangled Web number 21. So Batman and Spider-Man are very tied to comics and Christmas to me. Those ones I highly recommend. I like they're just so special. So those issues I just said in those two characters I think are the best. All right. You lovelies, you're killing it today. I appreciate y'all. I did not want to stream on a Sunday because I did not want to get out of bed early, but you guys have made it so worth it. I really appreciate it. Love these questions. Spidey Sensei. Thank you very much, Spidey Sensei. Spidey Sensei, PS5 Fund. Guys, we're making moves on the Switchboard and PS5 today. Thank you. PS5 Fund Adjustment Day made a really good documentary about Keith Flint. No shit. From The Prodigy. Just watched it last night on YouTube. Good sir. I am literally going to pull that up right now so I know to watch it. That is exceptional news. I love that. All right, let's see. The Adjustment Bureau. Adjustment Day. Adjustment Bureau is a Matt Damon film. Adjustment Day. Keith Flint. That is Keith Flint, the fire starter who burned too bright. Dude, thank you for this. I am one of the biggest Prodigy fans I know, and I would love to know more about Keith Flint. Thank you. I really appreciate that. On the books. Spidey Sensei, I appreciate you. Christian Unpronounceable for the Switchboard this time, and maybe a treat for Spidey. You know, if I get the Switchboard, then I will make more money because more people that like polished YouTube will join, and then Spidey will get more treats. So, by way of you putting this towards the Switchboard, you have helped Spidey, and the more I can make off YouTube, the more I can not have 7 jobs. Right now I have 5, which feels nice. I can not have 7 jobs, and I can be home to pet that cat. So, I appreciate that. Switchboard goes right to Spidey by way of his dad getting some rest, and then we'll get him treats. Thank you, Christian Unpronounceable. Dan V900. Dan V900, good to see you. He says, I know someone who has read Batman Deadpool, and he said it's insane in a good way where it was better than the Marvel one. That's exciting. I was at Twin Cities Con 2 weeks ago, and Ryan Stegman signed my Deadpool Batman. Okay, first of all, Ryan Stegman, a delight. I've gotten to know him over the years at cons. I hosted a panel for him. What an angel. His Batman Deadpool was fantastic. So if Grant Morrison's is even better, we are in for quite a good time. And again, that drops Wednesday. Definitely my comic of the week. Grant Morrison came to one of my birthdays once, which was insane. He was a friend of a friend, and it was the most surreal experience to have Grant Morrison at my birthday. It was crazy. Love that man. Love his work. We talked to X-Men for like half an hour, and I was like, how is this happening? Much love for Grant Morrison. Very excited for his take. And I can't wait to see the madness of their mind in the madness of Deadpool's. Yes, please. So yeah, book of the week. Very excited about it. And thank you very much, Dan V900. I cannot wait for that book. All right, next up, Matt Krugman coming back. Time to go watch my Bears beat the Vikings. In the spirit of you, I'm starting with an Irish car bomb or just enjoying a Guinness with a foam mustache. Well, good sir, that depends how much your team wins or loses and how much you want to remember the game. An Irish car bomb is surprisingly sneaky. Well, after like 2 or 3, they get sneaky on you. The whiskey hides very well in the Guinness. And all depends on if you do Irish cream as well. There are many kinds of car bomb. Americans do a little Bailey's. I personally have generally done just whiskey and Guinness, but I have at times added a little Bailey's. All of them are delightful. The whiskey is nourishing. The Guinness is healthy. And either way, have yourself a good time. There was an ad campaign called Drink a Guinness Like It's Good for You, and it was beautiful, and I have some art of it somewhere. Have a Guinness when you're tired is one of my pieces fell down. I need to put that back up, but have a Guinness when you're tired. I need a Guinness then. But yeah, enjoy your Guinness mustache or car bomb, good sir, and I appreciate you taking them in my honor. I appreciate the super chat. Enjoy the football. I'm actually trying to watch more football this year. I'm trying to have more Sundays. So I will hopefully be joining you one of these weeks, and I appreciate it very much. Dan V900 coming back. Terminator commentary was great. Thank you. Oh, yeah, over at Real Rejects today, we dropped Terminator 1. We're covering Terminator 1 and 2, me and Greg, over the course of the next few weeks, in between some Snyder Justice League stuff. We did Man of Steel. This week, Terminator. Next week, BVS. Next week, after that, Terminator 2. I believe all that over at Real Rejects. It's been a lot of fun to work with Greg a ton lately. We were doing our podcast together as well as this rewatch series. Been a blast. But yeah, thank you for watching, man. I appreciate that. Speaking of Terminator Metal, will there be a Christmas special where Terminator is sent back to kill Santa? What did Santa do? P.S. With you on Batman Forever over Returns. Fuck yeah. Terminator could probably take on Saint Nick. I believe in him. I think he's got that power. So yeah, there should be. As much as Batman Returns is a great Christmas movie, I think Batman Forever is a better film, and not a lot of people share that sentiment. So I appreciate that, Dan V900. Batman Forever. I think Val Kilmer is very slept on. I think that movie is very slept on. I appreciate you very much. And thank you for loving on the Terminator commentary. And Terminator Metal is metal. Declan Shalvey killing it. I appreciate it very much. Matt Krugman and a Spidey treat. Matt Krugman coming in, hitting piece by piece, nailing the different goals. And I love that these are written. So when I do the super chat at the end of the month, I actually have a log. And I like having different vaults. I don't know if you guys do this. We're at like 55 minutes, so I can say the crazy stuff that has nothing to do with comics at this point. My bank, I actually have different vaults for what different things are. So I have like a savings vault, a invest vault, a travel vault, a Spidey vault. I have like two more. Oh, YouTube for the switchboard and for editors. I have like different categories. So when I move the money, I can actually put each of these in a different one. And then all of the ones that don't have a designation do go into the house vault, which is the dream, man. I want a house one day. 37. I want a house. And I appreciate you guys very much for throwing in there. Matt Krugman says, and a Spidey treat. Tell him his doggy friend. Oh, Ahsoka. That's a great name. My baby Pity says hello and happy Sunday. I appreciate that very much. Very much. Spidey does actually like dogs for the most part. He's very much an only child. He likes to be the single pet, but he has no preference of cat versus dogs as long as they're nice, and he knows that it's still his house. All right, that, you lovelies, is gonna do it for this fine Sunday live stream. I really appreciate you guys joining me on a live stream. I'd love to know what you think about the Vendetta news, the Jimmy Olsen news, the Russo brothers news, any of the stuff that popped off this week. It is going to get into crazy trailer season very soon. It is probably 3 weeks until we get some of the biggest trailers for 2026. Like, it's about to be crazy. So going to be covering all of those trailers on this page. Also covering Welcome to Derry tonight. Also covering Wicked non-spoiler Monday, Wicked full spoiler Friday. Lots of stuff coming to this page. So please hit that subscription bell. If you just watched an hour of me live, you like me enough to subscribe, please do so. I want to thank everyone that sent in a super chat. It really means a lot to me that you guys support the page. Everyone that's on the Patreon, thank you to my dear patrons. You make this all possible. Really, really appreciate it. It's $5 a month. If you guys want to join and support the show that way, it means a lot to me. Patreon.com/Koijandro. If money's tight, which it is, the world is on fire and everything costs $100, costs $200 to leave the house. Supporting me on social media actually helps a ton because I can occasionally get brand deals. So follow me on TikTok, follow me on Instagram, follow me. Those are the only two that matter. I don't really use Twitter except for to like vent between sets at the gym. But I want to thank Matt Krugman, A-Soul, Spidey Sensei, Mayank Ranavari. Oh, Mayank, I recognize your name in this format in the super chat window. Good to see you, man. I know you're from Rejects. Mel, New York City Reviews, who is an OG of this page, who I appreciate. Ragged Wreck, one of the Oest of OGs. Robert Pruser, JM, everyone that threw in a super chat. Thank you so very, very much. Also want to make sure to thank, after those ones now, the page has refreshed. I want to thank Robert Pruser again, John Tyson again, Duger13 again, John Tyson, Spidey Sensei, Christian Unpronounceable, Dan V900, Matt Krugman once again, Dan V900 once again, Matt Krugman again, and John Tyson again. Everyone crushing it. I really appreciate you guys. Thank you. I'm going to take a little nap, and then I'm going to do my my reviews for Wicked. I appreciate y'all. Hope you have a wonderful Sunday. I hope you learned something out of this one. I hope you check out some of these comics. Please let me know in the comments on this page if you're watching this later, if you're reading any of these books, as well as the news. I want to have a conversation in the comments, as long as y'all are polite and kind. And I will see you for some Wicked stuff. And I'll let you know if I thought it was wicked good or a wicked rough sequel. Mass whole language for the 5 people that know what I'm talking about. I'm going to go nap. I appreciate y'all. I will see you very, very soon for lots more. All right. Have a great Sunday. Go get some rest. Bye.